IBM Beginner's Guide. IBM is one of the oldest names in computing, but the company you see today is not the IBM your parents knew. It is now a software and consulting business that helps the world's biggest banks, hospitals, and governments run their most critical computer systems and add AI to them. Quick reminder before we go further, this is for learning only, not investment advice. So, what does IBM actually do? IBM has three main businesses. The biggest is software, which is about 40% of revenue at around $6.3 billion a quarter. Inside software sits Red Hat, the company IBM bought back in 2019. Red Hat makes a special version of Linux. Linux is a free operating system that powers most servers on the internet, and it sells a product called OpenShift that lets companies run their applications on any cloud, whether that is Amazon, Microsoft, Google, or their own data center. OpenShift alone has hit $2 billion in ARR. ARR means annual recurring revenue, the predictable subscription dollars a software business earns every year. Software also includes Watsonx, IBM's AI platform for businesses, plus data tools like Confluent, which moves data in real time, and automation tools like HashiCorp, which IBM bought in 2025. The second business is consulting, about 32% of revenue at $5.1 billion a quarter. Think of consulting as IBM sending in teams of experts to help a bank or a retailer modernize old systems, plug in AI, or reorganize how their technology works. Today, about 30% of IBM's consulting backlog, the work clients have already signed up for but not yet completed, is generative AI projects. Generative AI is the kind of AI that creates new text, code, or images, like ChatGPT does. The third business is infrastructure, about 23% of revenue at $3.6 billion a quarter. The star here is the Z mainframe, a giant, expensive, ultra-reliable computer that runs the back office of nearly every major bank on Earth. The newest version, called Z17, is in the middle of a record cycle, growing 48% in its most recent reported quarter. Mainframes process billions of credit card swipes, wire transfers, and airline bookings every day. IBM also has a small financing arm, about 5% of revenue, which lends customers money to buy IBM products, a bit like how Apple offers payment plans for iPhones. So, who does IBM compete with, and how does it win? IBM's main competitors are Microsoft and Oracle in software, Accenture in consulting, and ServiceNow and Salesforce in business applications. IBM's moat. Moat is the investing word for competitive advantage. The thing that keeps rivals from stealing your customers is rated narrow, which means real but not bulletproof. The first edge is mission-critical lock-in on the Z mainframe. IBM Z runs the world's largest banks with what engineers call 6 to 8 nines of availability, meaning the system is up and running 99.9999% of the time or better. Moving off a mainframe is a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar project, so most clients simply do not switch. The catch is that the mainframe market is mature, so this lock-in protects existing revenue but does not generate fast growth on its own. The second edge is Red Hat and open source. Red Hat's products are built on free, community-maintained code, but IBM monetizes them by selling enterprise support, security updates, and certifications that big companies need. OpenShift has become a de facto standard for running modern applications, and customers value that they can move workloads between clouds without being trapped by any single vendor. The third edge is the unique combination of consulting plus software under one roof. When IBM consultants help a client redesign a process, they can plug in IBM software directly. Pure consulting firms like Accenture do not own software, and pure software firms do not have armies of consultants. The risk here is that AI is starting to reduce the number of billable hours consulting projects require, so IBM has to keep evolving toward what it calls asset-led delivery, using pre-built AI assets instead of just billing for human time. What are the key drivers for the business over the past 5 years? There are three forces behind IBM's last 5 years. First, the portfolio shifted from services to software. In 2021, IBM spun off its old managed infrastructure business as a separate public company called Kyndryl. With that lower margin work gone, IBM bought a series of software companies: Red Hat, HashiCorp, Confluent, DataStax, and software is now around 40% of revenue. Software earns higher margins. Margin just means how much profit you keep from each dollar of sales, and most of it is subscription-based, so it produces predictable cash. This mix shift is the single biggest reason IBM's profitability has steadily climbed. Second, IBM built an internal AI productivity engine that saves more than $1 billion a year. Since 2023, IBM has cut roughly $4.5 billion in cumulative costs by using AI and automation on its own work, everything from finance to HR to writing software code. An internal tool called IBM Bob has made IBM's own developers about 45% more productive. Those savings get reinvested in research and development, which funds the next product, which earns more revenue, a self-funding loop. Third, the Z17 mainframe cycle is the strongest IBM has ever had. AI is the reason. Clients using Watson's Code Assistant, IBM's AI tool that helps update old mainframe software, are growing MIPS 3 times faster than non-AI clients. MIPS stands for millions of instructions per second, and it is roughly how mainframes are priced. The more processing the bank uses, the more IBM gets paid. A new chip called Spire lets the mainframe run AI directly on every transaction, which means real-time fraud detection on credit cards, saving banks tens of millions of dollars. Mainframe cycles typically last 3 to 4 years, so this provides a meaningful tailwind through 2027. To wrap up, so that is IBM in one sentence: a software, consulting, and mainframe company that helps the world's largest organizations run mission-critical systems and bolt AI onto them. As a learner, the things to keep an eye on are whether consulting growth keeps accelerating, whether the Z17 cycle stays strong as AI demand expands, and how well IBM digests its recent Confluent and HashiCorp acquisitions. Again, this whole guide is for learning only, not advice on what to do with your money. Once you understand the business, you have a much better starting point to dig into the rest of the story on your own.